99% of the time going to solve the problem, but you're still behind here.
Yep.
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Aviators, and welcome back to the Finer Points. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 tips that will dramatically improve your instrument flying and make sure that you don't make some of the same mistakes I see students make all the time. We're back to summer weather here in the Bay Area, which means we have a regular marine layer which blows in off the ocean, and it's beautiful instrument training, some of the best in the world. And as we get Joe ready for his check ride, we recently went to Half Moon Bay to fly some approaches to minimums, and these 3 things came up. He's doing a fantastic job, but I thought that everybody could benefit from these 3 tips that I gave him on our most recent flight. Huge thanks to Joe for letting us publish his flight training to the internet, by the way, so that everybody can benefit. He's an awesome sport about that. And the first thing is, he started to fall behind the airplane, which can happen to any instrument pilot. And I always say to people, the number one tool when you start to fall behind the airplane is slow down. And Joe does that. He does that without me prompting him, but that's not enough. So there's a couple other things that he could do, and I suggested he do, and you'll see here in this video as we cut in. He can ask for delay vectors from air traffic control, and he can use the autopilot. So slowing down, using the autopilot, and actually asking air traffic control for delays. Don't let them push you into something. Get them working for you to buy yourself some time.
Number 251, advise when you have the 1-minute weather at Half Moon Bay.
Oh, shoot. We'll go 251.
Let me give you a tool here, okay?
Okay.
You're feeling behind, so you did the right thing. You slowed down. That's 99% of the time going to solve the problem, but you're still behind here.
Yep.
Why don't you ask ATC to help you? Get them working for you. Just say, hey, NorCal, is it possible to give 63251 a delay vector box pattern before we start in on the approach, or something like that?
Okay. Approach 63251. Can we get a delay vector, maybe a box pattern, before we head in for the approach?
Number 251, turn left heading 130.
Left heading 130, 251, thanks.
But now you just got him working for you, right? Now he tells you what headings to fly. Knows what you want to do. Good. Autopilot would be another thing.
Altitude. Hold. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So I need to get this weather, and I need to not. Okay. I didn't even listen to the identifier. Okay. So this is 127275. So I flip this in.
Half Moon Bay Airport, automated weather observation 1811 Zulu.
So now they have control of the navigation. They're giving Joe vectors. He can easily move on and brief the approach. They even ask him, to just let them know when he's ready to accept the approach and move inbound.
Approach 251 has the weather, Half Moon Bay.
Cessna 251, roger, advise when you're ready to proceed inbound.
We're ready to proceed, thanks.
Number 251, cleared direct Jumda, cross Jumda at or above 4,000. Cleared RNAV, runway 30, approach Half Moon Bay Airport.
Clear direct Jumda and then cross at or below 4,000. Clear for the 30 at Half Moon Bay. 63251.
The second thing I want to tell you is make sure that you turn on terrain. And this approach into Half Moon Bay has mountains all along the north side of the approach course. So if you are off course to the north, you are potentially in danger of hitting terrain. And for some reason, in the G1000, Garmin does not just turn it on, when you get to 1,000 feet. You have to go into the map and actually turn on terrain. So don't forget to do that. Here's when I remind Joe to turn it on, but I'll also show you what it looked like later in the flight as we descend and get closer to the terrain.
Let's get a better situational awareness over here. Your terrain's on, so I would have it like this with terrain on.
Okay.
Well, you want terrain on, right?
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, now you want to I don't go too far north, of course.
Right, yeah.
Lastly, you want to make sure that if you're flying a GPS approach, you have the proper scaling on your course deviation indicator, on your CDI. It cannot say ENR for en route or TERM for terminal. It has to say some kind of approach. And most of us remember this on the first approach, but if you're doing multiple approaches and your vectors don't take you out far enough outside the approach gate, sometimes it won't reset. So There's a couple lessons, couple takeaways here. I mean, one is to make sure that on any GPS approach, as you cross the final approach fix, you verify that you have proper scaling on your CDI. And if you don't, you just execute a missed approach. So, even if you're on a check ride, I think noticing it and executing a missed approach would be, would be good. I mean, it wouldn't be great, but they wouldn't fail you for that, right? They would probably give you props for noticing that it wasn't there. The problem would be is if you started the approach and didn't notice it, that would definitely be unsafe and be a failure item on a check ride. So the second takeaway is, and unfortunately my head covers all the button pushing that I'm doing here, but to reset the G1000 and actually have it scale properly, I needed to quickly delete the approach out of the GPS, reload the approach, and then activate the leg that we were on before we crossed the next waypoint. And I just call that buttonology. It's a lot of kind of computer programming. Delete the approach, load the approach, and activate the leg. So you want to make sure that if you're using a system like the G1000 or really any GPS, you are proficient with your buttonology and you can get in there and do that kind of stuff and make sure you're practicing, having to do that stuff last minute for situations like this one.
Should be verifying too. Before you cross Woolley, we need to verify linear scaling on your CDI.
We cross Woolley, verify linear scaling. Are you talking about
That's correct.
terminal?
Yep.
So it should go to LPV?
Yep, or at least LNAV, but it has to be in some sort of approach mode.
Okay.
Ideally LPV.
Alright.
Adjustment 251, no traffic observed between you and the Half Moon Bay Airport. Change to advisory frequency is approved. Your missed approach frequency will be 135.1.
Okay, 6251 is cleared for 30 approach at Half Moon Bay. Departure frequency will be 135.1 on the missed approach.
251, correct. 135.1 on the miss. Change to advisory frequency is approved.
Advisory 6251.
Should really see that linear scaling within 3 miles of the final approach fix. And 2 miles of the final approach fix. I'm afraid we're not going to see it.
Oh, we've got it set up right. I've got the approach.
I know, but maybe we need to delete the flight plan and reload it. Can I do that really fast before we get there? Kind of buttonology.
At GPS en route.
Don't follow your pink line just yet. Got you back.
There it is. LPV. Is approach loaded? Approach, there it is.
Yeah, you're all set. What I did over here was delete the entire flight plan, then reload the approach, and then activate the leg we were on.
Okay.
All right, aviators, that's all. I hope those 3 tips help you instrument pilots out there. Again, a huge thanks to Joe for letting us publish his flight training. He's doing awesome and has a check ride coming up soon. Also, a big thanks to the sponsors for their support of this show. Remember that when you renew your AOPA membership, you should select Pilot Protection Services. Also, there's tons of bonus content on Patreon. That's a huge part of how these videos come. So if you're benefiting from watching these videos or listening to the podcasts or coming to the Instagram live sessions every Friday, definitely consider coming to Patreon, becoming a supporter, and getting access to tons of bonus content. You get 25% off ground school, hangouts with me on Zoom every month, lots and lots of stuff there. So definitely go check it out. Also, if you can't afford Patreon, that's okay. Please leave us a comment below, like the channel, hit the alert bell, share far and wide with your friends, and most importantly, until next time, be safe and fly your best.